we are so close to calling him a member of the Channel 6 team. He's already a member of the family, but an official, all we need to do is just pay him because he's so good to us. Dr. Craig Albert, Augusta University, expert on all things political, great teacher, great friend, and we appreciate you being here.
Love being here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And it's been a long week for you, too. I want to lead off with the governor's race because that's what everyone's been talking about in the state of Georgia. It looks like Kemp has more votes, but Abrams thinks maybe that once everything is counted or recounted, she can get to a runoff. Your thoughts?
I think Kemp has officially won at this point. That hasn't been certified, but he's at about 65,000 votes ahead of Stacey Abrams right now. All the absentee ballots are accounted for. There may be a few lagging out there, but there's not any large surplus out there. Right now, it's just the provisional ballots that need to be counted, and maybe some leftover votes in Fulton County, Forsyth, these areas around Atlanta. Abrams would have to get about 20 to 25,000 more votes without Kemp accumulating any more from those provisional ballots for her to force his totals to fall below 50%. He's at about 50.2%. So it's possible 25,000 is not that many votes when you think about 4 million voters. But the idea is, and nobody really knows, how many are still out there that are unaccountable. So she has a chance that she could force a runoff because in Georgia, if no candidate gets above 50%, it's an automatic runoff between the two highest vote getters.
Well, you can't fault her, can you? Or anybody. If you're within 0.2%, you have to go for it. You have to challenge it.
I think both are doing perfect strategy for politics right now. Kemp has declared victory. That's exactly what he should have done after a few hours, making sure the absentee ballots came in properly and everything. Also remember, he's the Secretary of State, so he has to be cautious about how and what he says regarding that because he has to speak as Secretary of State Kemp versus candidate Kemp when he's dealing with how many votes are still out there and everything. So he doesn't want to blur the lines. And of course, candidate Abrams as well. Absolutely. She should absolutely keep fighting, keep going for it. She's so close. And in the state of Georgia, I mean, that's even more reason for her to keep this going as long as it seems logical to do so.
Should he step aside since he's the guy who certifies these elections? Should he step aside because of the should he step aside?
I think it would behoove him to do so. You know, when in political science or just in politics, why would you do anything that might ever cast doubt upon something or might even smell of being unethical? In my mind, you just want to avoid that whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that he's unethical or anything, but why would you ever even allow that argument to be made? He has a team under him in the Secretary of State's office that can keep doing that. It wouldn't be a big deal if he is cast aside so that everything seems that it's okay and legitimate. So I think that is something he might do, especially if he goes to a runoff. He will have to do that because he can't fundraise if it goes to a runoff. So he will have to step down if he wants to compete.
If he wins, is he the last Republican governor Georgia will see for a while?
This is close. Atlanta is burgeoning, and it's burgeoning blue. So as it expands, as we have urban sprawl, there's more suburban neighborhoods, it's turning bluer and bluer. That vote is going to surpass the rest of Georgia in its entirety. So when we get to 2020, I think 2020 might be just the way this year is, especially with the presidential election. We're going to be purpling, as I like to say. I don't think we'll be officially purple. By 2024, I think all bets are off and Georgia will be up for grabs.
Are Democrats moving to our state, or are we just raising more Democrats these days?
Both. Atlanta is becoming such a hip city, and Augusta is becoming more of a hip city. What happens when that occurs is you have a more diverse, more inclusive population that comes here, higher education levels, higher wealth levels, and so you have all kinds of individuals moving in the state of Georgia. So we're now looking like a miniature Silicon Valley, a miniature New York City, because we have all types of tech industries here now. We were a big competitor to get Amazon's headquarters in Atlanta. You know, in Augusta, we have the Cyber Center, we have the Cyber Building, everything cyber's coming here. That's a different type of individual than Georgia's used to. That's gonna bring different political beliefs.
What do you say to the Republicans, to the conservatives in small town Georgia outside of metro Atlanta who say, wait, please don't say that. I want my voice to always be heard?
Republicans are always going to be at home in Georgia as well, but it's going to be a little bit more competitive, which for a two-party system is perfect. You want both parties to have a good base in a state so that they can compete with one another and allow the marketplace of ideas to be vibrant. That's perfect because the Republican message will get out better, and so will the Democratic message get out better. You'll have progressives, you'll have some very conservative individuals competing in actual political battleground, and that's great. That makes our voices as citizens even more powerful because the politicians will have to be held more accountable to earn our trust to get our vote.
Does it bring more peace among the parties when both sides sort of have to get along to get things done?
I think the time of peace in American politics is over.
I think you're right.
And right now it seems that the left is moving much more towards far left progressive. The right is matching that, moving much more towards far right, very conservative. And the base are moving with them, and the base for both sides are growing. So we're growing in our extreme views. I don't mean extreme views harshly. I mean, it's just extreme to the right or extreme to the left. We're growing in our extreme views versus one another, and the party base of both sides that are extreme are growing. That means what used to be a 10, 15% population that was in the middle isn't there anymore. It's shrinking, and there's almost no candidates that can represent those in the middle. Most of the individuals that were Republicans that lost in the House of Representatives that helped the Democrats gain almost 30 seats were moderate Republicans, and they got beat by Democrats. That moderate voice is gone.
One of the things we also saw, which was a shock to no one, was the resignation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. What do you think about him stepping down? It kind of took longer than I thought.
I don't think President Trump could have asked for his resignation, which is the nice way of saying he was fired.
Yeah.
Before the midterms, I think it would be a chaotic, maybe even cause a constitutional crisis. With this Mueller probe going on, it looks like something else is going on by Sessions stepping down. You didn't want to give the Democrats any more power before the midterms to do that. Now they have the power to do anything. They're going to investigate this. Sessions is gone. We're not sure who's going to be replacing him. We have Matthew Whitaker as the interim. But the Democrats are sure to do something about this once the next session starts.
What does that mean for President Trump? Does it just mean the rest of his first term is spent in a courtroom?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Committee investigations in the House of Representatives, maybe impeachment. I said this a few months ago with you that if they won, we could expect some type of impeachment proceedings. I think if Nancy Pelosi becomes Speaker of the House, which is all indications that she will definitely make sure that there is some type of impeachment investigations. They might not go through a trial of impeachment in the House, but I'm sure she will investigate Trump and things that she believes or the left believes that he might be guilty of obstruction or something shady.
We talked about this briefly last time, but I just wanted to kind of give the viewers a feel for what Washington, D.C. is going to look like for the next 2 years with the Democrats running the House, Republicans running the Senate. Can we just expect nothing to get done from an agenda, from a policy standpoint?
Absolutely. We can expect that nothing will get done from a policy standpoint. This is what we call divided government. Actually, it makes sense constitutionally, and the Founding Fathers would probably be happy that we have a divided government again. The houses are supposed to check one another, regardless of what party is in both. They're supposed to check each other. The houses of Congress, the Supreme Court are supposed, they're built to check the President of the United States, regardless of the party. Party politics corrupts that process that the Founding Fathers created of checks and balances and separation of power. Thomas Jefferson said there should be a year wait in Congress before a bill is proposed, before you're allowed to vote on it, to make sure there was gridlock and there was no passion of getting something done immediately just for the sake of it in the House. So this allows the Founding Fathers' ideas of checks and balances, securing each other, ambition made to counteract ambition to happen. So nothing occurring might actually be what our Constitution was created to do. So I wouldn't let everybody get all depressed that that's going to happen. What might be bad is if it's all about let's just hurt President Trump just to hurt President Trump. That is not what the founders would have envisioned.
Right. The converse of this argument is, will the Democrats then, if they can't agree on anything to accomplish, just try to undo all the president's built in his first 2 years?
They might try, but remember, the Republicans gained power in the Senate, and it takes both houses for anything to pass. So I doubt that they'll be able to undo anything significantly. They could try to obstruct his agenda moving forward, but they were doing a good job at that, which is their job, is to obstruct the opposite party and the president's agenda moving forward. So I don't think we'll see much change except a more combative and more investigations at the bequest of the members of Congress.
So do you see, and you already answered this because we agree that probably nothing will get done the next 2 years, but is there anything that you can think of where Nancy Pelosi and President Trump would be side by side holding their hands up in victory, saying, look what we passed, look what we did.
I think they can do some infrastructure. They can both, the Democrats are big on spending for the infrastructure. President Trump promised on his campaign that he was going to increase infrastructure spending. So rebuilding roads, rebuilding bridges, these types of things. So I think we might see a giant infrastructure bill, which would be great for America, great for the economy, great for the stock market, great for individuals just to increase our wallet size. That's about all I see them. If something happens on foreign policy, North Korea, maybe we can see both teams coming together in a collective unifying voice. But I don't see room for anything else that calls for compromise or negotiation.
So where do we go from here? A lot of tension, a lot of controversy in this country right now. That's where our conversation will head with Dr. Craig Albert in just a moment. Can he offer any hope for us to get along in the coming months and years? On the Means Report.